committed crime, especially murder?
No, actually, there is no evidence that capital punishment itself prevents murder. According to John A. Torres, a professor of political science at LaGrange College, as of 2016, among the 25 states with the highest murder rates, 20 of them have the death penalty, and some of those including Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Alabama, etc. And when it comes to the 25 states with the lowest murder rates, about 14 of them don't have the death penalty, which that would be more than half of the 25 states with the lowest murder rates not having the death penalty be legal. And the statistics show that having the death penalty being legal in your state means your state is more likely to have a higher murder rate. So the inability of the death penalty to deter serious crimes such as murder should give people some reason to question the effectiveness of the capital punishment.
So what state uses the death penalty?
There are several states that use the death penalty, and those include Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Oregon, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, and Wyoming.
Why is the death penalty used in these states?
It could be for several different reasons. It could serve justice for the family of the victim that was murdered, and it could punish criminals for their wrongdoings.
What's the death penalty law in Illinois?
In Illinois, actually, there is no death penalty law. We don't retain the death penalty. The death penalty here is just life in prison for anyone that gets that big of a sentence.
I personally think that the death penalty should be legal, but only for like extreme circumstances where like someone keeps escaping from prison or has committed multiple murders that, you know, they just really don't deserve to continue living for.
Hi, I'm Jessica, and I believe that the death penalty is wrong. It is not the government's right to decide whether or not they can take someone's life. Yes, tax dollars pay for a criminal's time in jail. However, that is justified because according to the U.S. military, a life is worth $1 million. If my math is correct, it costs $31,000 a year to keep a criminal jailed. Depending on what the criminal's age is, it will cost less half of the time. Not only that, but if the citizens want the criminal to suffer more, a lifetime in jail would be worse and will cause more suffering than ending their life to end their torture.
The way I feel about the death penalty is that it should be used. If a person take away another human being's life, the best type of punishment would be their life being taken away too. To decrease all the gun violence and the deaths due to family wanting to get revenge back, I feel like the death penalty, it would help decrease all of that a lot.
My opinion on the death penalty is that it should be put in place, but only for serious offenses. So for example, nowadays it's like school shootings, mass shootings. It shouldn't be put in place, and it shouldn't be used that much, but it should still be put in so that we can kind of have like order. So they, like, people still are scared of going into prison or doing serious like bad serious crimes because like the death penalty is still in place.
So I have mixed emotions on the death penalty because I feel like even if someone does a terrible act, that it's not our right to take away their right to live. And I think that maybe maximum prisons and just harder jails are better options because I feel like it's a longer punishment and not an easy way out, and we don't overstep the boundary of taking away their life.
I think the death penalty should not be a thing anymore because stats show that it costs more money to sentence someone to death and to put them on death row than to sentence them to life in prison. And it could also put innocent lives at risk There could be a lot of people that are sentenced to death and then put down, and they could be innocent, shown at a later date. So that's why I don't believe it's the right thing to do for convicted criminals who are facing the death penalty.
I firmly believe that 5 years ago, God spoke a word to me, and God told me, you're not gonna die there. You're not gonna die there.
Houston cop killer Anthony Haynes will be executed by lethal injection.
The officer was off duty, but pulled Haynes over, identified himself as a police officer, was reaching for his badge in his back pocket when he was shot by Haynes in the left eye.
He fighting for a while. He says, I'm a cop. But as he says, I'm a cop, he reaches for his hip. I can't see what he's reaching for, but just my personal life experience tells me he's going for a weapon. So I fired one shot.
Ready? Hey!
His attorney, Mr. Richard Ellis, he's actually taken Anthony's case personal. He believes that he should not be on death row.
I think it's easier to be in prison on death row as a younger person because you haven't experienced life. You don't have to, I wasn't married. I didn't have kids.
They just denied his clemency.
I don't think I'm gonna die tomorrow. I don't believe that at all.
I'm Anthony's father, and I love Anthony, and we have a spiritual connection, and I'm gonna be there for Anthony till the end.
God, we know that nobody can do anything like you. So God, we pray now by your divine will, if it's your will, that you deliver like only you can. And God, we know that you're able if you only would.
Thank you for coming to see me.
God, we pray for your mercy.
God bless you.
Good morning. The state of Texas is today preparing to carry out the execution of Anthony Haynes.
Anthony Haynes did make a statement. He said, God told me that I will not die on death row. Around 4 p.m. today, we received notice from the U.S. Supreme Court that Anthony Haynes received a stay of execution. The appeal that was filed at the last minute related to ineffective counsel, and so the U.S. Supreme Court stopped the execution so they could review that a little bit closer.
I'm sorry, I'm not sorry just because I'm locked up. I genuinely regret what happened, I wish never